This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company and Purdy Insurance. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company and Purdy Insurance. Now, from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
This half hour being brought to you by our good friends at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors, Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf, online, sunburymotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, best of new inventory, great pre-owned inventory with the all-important Sunbury Motors guarantee to go over every vehicle on the lot. And a terrific service department. Quick lane inspections, routine, difficult. They handle it all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors, 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. All right, so I'm sitting here yesterday, and I thought, geez, I haven't talked about wheels. It's been way too long. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Chris Wheeler returns. Sir, welcome.
Oh, there you are. I was having a little trouble hearing you.
Oh, that's okay. Can you hear me now?
I got you. Yeah, you hit some button and it worked.
That's what we do. What's great is we have other people that hit buttons, and we sit there and go, I don't know.
Hey, I know people wanted to mute me for a lot of years, so I thought you were muting me.
What bothers me is I've had broadcast partners that wanted to mute me.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah. So, first of all, the most important thing, how you been?
Good. Good. You know, I enjoy my time down here. I'm lucky enough to be able to have a really cool place down here and enjoy it. Renee came down for a couple visits. Spring training was great. A few things that are a little different this year. Everything's fine, by the way, but I'm going to go home a little bit early this year. So I'll be back in Bluebell by the end of the month.
That's what he'll send me an email or a text. And he'll sign it, Chris from Bluebell.
That's it. That's me. That's me, Chris or Wheels from Bluebell. Yeah, Steve from Lemoyne. That's how we work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so you and I have been through this at our respective jobs when coaches are changed or managers are changed. And look, 9 times out of 10, the new guy doesn't come in and change a lot. Now, I thought Terry Smith changed a few things as to what he did. But usually it's the players look around at each other and go, we better get on our tail and start moving here. And I feel like as fine a job as Don Mattingly has done, I kind of get that feeling that the Phillies kind of looked inward and said, like, Rob's not here because we didn't do well enough.
Well, you hope that's what happens. You know, I've been around enough baseball players in my life that they get a manager fired and then they don't care. You know, it's, we'll move on to another guy. Well, I don't think that was the case in Rob Thompson's case. I think they genuinely liked him and respected him and realized what he had done, but also understand that there comes a point when you're 9-19 with that payroll and that roster that they have that something has to be done. Well, you don't fire the front office and you don't fire the players, so the manager has to go. He got Don Mattingly's done a really good job. He walked into a good situation with players, and he also walked into a situation where the Phillies had just played the Braves and the Cubs for 2 weeks, back and forth, home and away. Two of the hottest teams in baseball, leading the divisions. So they picked a bad time to play those two hot teams when they weren't playing very well. The schedule immediately got better, and to their credit, they picked it up, and they somehow were able to go over 500 after being 10 under 500. And they're playing right now, and they're trying to take a series from the Cincinnati Reds. So Rob Thompson was a great guy. I got to know him well. He was very respectful of me for what I had done with the Phillies, and I really enjoyed being around the man. But I know he understands that that's the way it goes.
Yeah, and that is the way it goes. You've been around some of the best pitchers the game has seen, and that includes guys that were in the Phillies. What does it mean to a clubhouse when somebody the caliber of Zach Wheeler returns, and not only returns but looks good doing it?
Well, I think that second part really is important. Obviously, to have Zach Wheeler back would have been a big thing, just to have him around, because he's a great man in that clubhouse, evidently. But to have him come off what he went through last year and rehab himself and work the way that he did, and then come back and throw pretty well in his rehabs, and then a little better when he started back in the big leagues, but now picking it up to the point where they're saying he's looking a little bit like himself. Yeah, I think he turns 36 this week, so he's not like he's a young guy. But he has been unbelievable, and it stabilized the rotation because Sanchez is really good, and he was struggling a little bit. Luzardo's really good. He was struggling a little bit. They had to move Taijuan Walker, which they finally were able to do. Aaron Nola is just having his problems because he just may be out of bullets right now in some ways. And Painter's got a chance to be pretty good. So the rotation got so much better and deeper when a Zach Wheeler came back. And I think just having the feeling of the winner that he is and being around him, it had to help the whole ball club.
And there is a reality, at least to me. There is a difference between a 1 and a 2. There's a reason why the 1 gets the first game of the playoffs. And some guys are mentally more comfortable being a 2, mentally more comfortable being a 3. Is that a fact in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we went through that in the playoffs last year. They did okay. I mean, they battled the Dodgers, and the Dodgers were the best team, obviously, and proved it at the end by getting by Toronto the way they did in the World Series. Phillies gave them a great series. Would it have been a better series if Zach Wheeler pitched game 1? I don't know. You'd thought that they had a heck of a chance to win it, even though they almost did win it. But yeah, having that guy to go into a postseason and to get you through a season and stabilize things is so important. And he's just really good. You know, he's reinvented himself over the years. And he used to just be a straight guy, throw fastballs and swing and miss and a slider and all that. Now he has split, slurve, what do they call that thing now? Sweeper.
Yeah.
You know, you and I called it a curveball forever, but he has all those pitches now.
You know, I may start doing that on the Spikes broadcast. I mean, every time I see a curveball, I may just call it a sweeper. You know what I love about this is that they keep coming up with different terms for something. Right? And this is what I always told my broadcasting classes when I was teaching. I always told them, I said, use terms and language that the fans understand. I said, you're talking to them. I said, it's a sweeper. Like, okay, what's a sweeper? If I say curveball, I think everybody knows what a curveball is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Nowadays, the kids would be able to use the term sweeper the way you're teaching them, because it's become so much a part of the vernacular of the game that you know, as launch angle has become, and some of that other nonsense that used to say, well, if I knew what a launch angle was, or velocity off the bat, you could tell it was hit hard, you could hear it. But, you know, there's so many things nowadays that are part of sports that I didn't have to do a whole lot of that stuff, but the stuff that was coming along, I always tried to make sure I didn't sound like some old man and a dinosaur and those kind of things. And I know you feel the same way, but it is annoying when you see a curveball and now they have to call it a sweeper.
Right. Oh, and this is a couple of years ago. O'Neal Cruz of the Pirates hit a home run, and it was a line drive that cleared the fence. And they were like, oh, it went out at 121 miles an hour. I don't care if it goes 90. I don't care if it goes 96. If it's over the fence, it's a home run. Like,
you love baseball, and you've done a lot of baseball, and it makes a certain sound. The pitcher knows it. We know it. A lot of the fans know it, so they want to give you a launch angle. I'll give you a real quick story about our buddy Boa.
Yeah.
So a number of years ago, he's in the new general manager's box at the time. I think it was Matt Klentak, and then new people, and all the analytics were going on. Him and Charlie are sitting in their manual. And one of our guys, I think it was Franco, who, and he kind of blew out after a few years. But anyway, he hits a high fly ball to right center field, and the guy catches it like in front of the warning track or something. So in the back of the booth, he hears, boy, how about that? A launch angle was so... And they say, Bo, what do you think? Bo says, I think it was an F8.
It's an out.
That didn't go over real well.
No, because I was doing a game once, and a guy hit a foul ball, and it went off the bat at 108. Because we have that stuff in the booth. Right? And somebody says, 108. I said, yes, strike two.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, he hit a high fly ball and it was an out. Anyway, hey, look, we all have to move on from all this stuff. And it's all part of the new vernacular, and I know you, like you said, you're doing it in baseball, and I know you have to have it in football too. There's a lot more stuff you didn't use before, but it does get a little annoying sometimes.
I haven't really changed what I do. Like in basketball, I'll use some more analytics, such as I think points per possession tells you a story. I think percentage of points from 2, 3, and 1 tells you how a team plays. Things like that. So I'll look at that. But other than that, I haven't really changed too much.
You know what? I just kind of threw that out there because, I listen to you all the time, and you haven't changed, and you shouldn't.
No, I mean, that's why, like, if you were still doing this, I know that there'd be a couple little things you would do, but you would still do the game the same way, because to me it's still about feel and not about just numbers. Numbers tell some stories, but if you have a feel for the game as to why they're doing something, okay, right? I mean, that tells a bigger story to me.
Amen to that. And, to have a feel for your business when you're in it, not only when you're on the air, when you're off the air, how you act in the clubhouse, all those kind of things when you're around people. I think that's all a part of it. I've always felt that feel is a huge part of doing what I did for a long time and what you do. And you can tell the ones that have it, and you can tell the ones that don't when you're around them.
There's no question about that. And why is it that you could talk to Larry Boa as easily as you talk to Charlie Manuel and so forth? Because they understood that you knew. Right? And that's a bit, see, and when you're around people that, look, this is the attitude I've always taken. I think I know a lot about football, but I don't know as much as Matt Campbell. I think I know a lot about basketball, but I don't know as much as Mike Rhodes. And I walk in with that instant respect anyway. Now it comes to broadcasting, I'm going to assume I know more than they do. So.
Yeah, right. Well, when you're around professional players, they don't feel that way.
Oh, not in the least. No. You're trying to get me. Like, I'm trying to get you? I'm trying to get you?
Hey, look, one of the things that those guys told me from day one, the guys I became so close with, like Lazinski and Bo and Tim McCarver and those kind of guys, and Vuk, they said, you ask a lot of questions without being a pain in the butt about them. He said, they would tell me, he said, you wanted to learn. You wanted to ask us about things, and you didn't come in thinking you knew everything. Yes. And I said, well, I didn't know that I did that, but that's just my nature anyway, because I ask a lot of questions because I try to learn things. And they said that was one of the main reasons that they kind of took to me right away. And then, of course, we became friends for so long. But I always found that was kind of interesting when they told me that. But
that's a fact. I mean, in other words, I respect you enough and your knowledge of something that I will ask you questions because I'm trying to be better at what I'm doing, understanding what your perspective is and why. I mean, that can only help the listener or the viewer when that happens. Now, I do have to give you the opportunity to now ask questions that you actually feel are exponentially more important than the ones I just asked you.
Well, it's all about me, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The day that happens, I'll fall down when it's all about you, because that is 180. You know what you are.
Thank you. Mutual admiration society as far as that goes. Well, look, real quick, because I know we don't have a lot of time. All I want to know, I don't have a lot of specific stuff, but you've been through a camp now, and not a blue-white game, but whatever they did. Tell me about Matt Campbell, his staff, the way he's recruited, the way he's brought players in so far, and what you think about the way people have bought into it.
Well, I'll start with the last part, the buy-in. Part of what he tried to do during the course of the spring was to bring everybody together. It's not the Iowa State part of the locker room. It's not the Penn State part of the locker room or the UCLA part, whatever. I think at the end of this spring practice, I think he left there with a Penn State football team. And I think you saw with Matt the conscious effort to bring in the letterman every week to tell them about the history of this program through their eyes. And that outreach meant a lot to the letterman. And then on Saturday mornings, before the team meeting at 8:30, he'd bring me up at the team meeting, and I'd sit down with 3 or 4 players from whatever era. Dave Robinson was one, along with Todd Blackledge, DJ Dozier. There was Kerry Collins, Kajana Carter, Kyle Brady. I mean, we did this all the way up through to the 20 teens. And Matt was talking about this, and away from everybody, because he talked to me a little bit about it. And he said, you know what? He said, in defeat, I would look at, he said, why is Curt Cignetti choked up and almost crying on the field after Indiana beat Penn State? He said, why is it that the Michigan coaches cried on the field after they beat Penn State? He said, why is it that Ryan Day gets choked up when they win a game at Beaver Stadium? Now, those are bad moments for Penn State, but it tells you what it means to other teams because of what Penn State has meant, and he wants to make sure that it continues to be where they understand how great the program has been and that they're actually carrying on a legacy where there's a reason why Penn State has a target on it and other programs don't. And I think that, they did a great job of conveying it, because Andrew Rapplier had the best one. Okay, and Rapp is the tight end for the uninitiated. Sure. I just want to make sure the fans knew that. I know you know.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and he says, I got to tell you, Mr. Jones. He says, they go out to do that first team meeting thing. You're up there. I'm like, going, oh, brother, here we go. It's be 30 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. He says, I want to tell you right now, that was pretty cool.
That's well stated. That says a lot for a grown man, and he's a grown man at this point to say something like that. But that's pretty cool, and I totally agree with you about the way you see those guys the way they see those guys get choked up. Happened after the Oregon game too. You know, you see
Sure.
that the way that the coaches feel that way, and it's a big deal to come in and beat Penn State, especially in that environment of a whiteout or a sellout crowd like Indiana that afternoon, and they play in that kind of emotion. So it makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. And at the same time, you know, there are going to be a couple of places Penn State goes where you get a little choked up. I mean, for example, you know, Penn State was able to win at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, coming from behind, winning in overtime. You don't think that Penn State locker room, it wasn't choked up? You're darn right they were. They were emotional because there's a certain places you go. I mean, you know, you've been to the cathedrals of every sport out there, for goodness sakes. That just means a little bit more to go into Lambeau and win, means more to go to Notre Dame Stadium and win. Well, Beaver Stadium is one of those places. That's because Penn State's been so great, especially here. And, you know, other people know that.
Yeah, well, you know, you and I have talked about it before, but the idea that Matt Campbell came in and embraced our history and our culture, not trying to, you know, reinvent the wheel or anything, but just go with it and make sure that the people around Penn State understand that he understands Penn State, and we'll go from there. Maybe we're not going to talk 4-star, 5-star, every recruit we bring in, which, as you know, can be so incredibly overrated sometimes. But to bring in football players that fit what they want to do and what the coaches want to do there, and go from there and see what happens. And, you know, everything I read in here, I'm just very, very, very positive about the direction.
When you meet him personally, you're going to be impressed. I can guarantee you. You will be. Yeah. He's down to earth. He's down to earth. He's just, I mean, that's a big part of him. Way too long. I mean, now that you're finally working your way back, right? Okay. This won't be the last time you're on the show between now and we go out and attempt to find my ball someplace. But I mean, you know, we are going to get it set up.
We are going to make that work, and no doubt about it.
You are the greatest, and I mean that sincerely.
Thank you, Steve. I enjoy our time together, and I really look forward to seeing you this summer. It's been too long since we've been able to hang out.
Oh, way too long. And believe me, by the time the round's over, I'll probably tell you everything that's going on.
Well, that'll be one of those days that I hope we got slow people in front of us.
There we go. All right. You were the Wheels, thanks so much. I asked him yesterday. He jumped on right away. Thanks so much, my friend.
Always a pleasure, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, Steve.
Half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Purdy Insurance and Sunbury Motor Company. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, boat, motorcycle, RV. I just ran through some of the basics on insurance. I mean, some of them are specialty. No question about that. But they'll get you insurance for anything I just talked about. Anything. And the great people at Purdy do everything they can to save you money. And there are ways to do it. I mean, there's certain insurances that you're allowed to go over state lines to get the best numbers, and they'll do it. They work. I mean, they work at it. And updating your policy, they work at it. You're not just a number. It's not like serving number 12. Okay, you're done. Next. No. It's personalized because customer service means everything to them. They're great people who are great pros. Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Right now, the Reds lead the Phillies 4-1, bottom of the fifth. Still plenty of time. And again, same story as last night. They took a 1-0 lead last night on Trey Turner's home run. The Phillies took a 1-0 lead in this game when Bryce Harper hit a sacrifice fly and it knocked in Turner. But since then, 3 runs in the second for the Reds, and they tacked on one more in the fourth inning. They lead at 4-1. Nola's scuffling again today. 5 innings, 8 hits. He struck out 5. He hasn't walked anybody, but he's already thrown 77 pitches, and the ERA right now is 6.04. It's just been a tough go for him. Meanwhile, for Cincinnati, it's been Andrew Abbott's only given up 2 hits so far. And, and Abbott in the last 3 starts before today, he'd been terrific. Terrific. 17 innings pitched? He'd only given up in the 17 innings 11 hits and 1 run. Well, today's given up 1 run on 2 hits so far. He has been really, really good. And they're now going to the 6th inning. It's still 4-1. And Abbott, by the way, now they're close to getting him out. He's already thrown 90 pitches in the game. He's already thrown 90 pitches. So they might be close to getting rid of him and getting into the Cincinnati bullpen. But 4-1, Reds lead at top of the 6th inning at Citizens Bank Park. Orioles lead the Rays 2-1, top of the 6th. The Rays winning the first 2 games of the series, but the Rays have been winning a lot. They're 32-15. And talk about playing great at Tropicana Field. They're 18-5 at home this year. Yikes. And they lead it. The Orioles, though, lead this game. It's now 3-1. It's now 3-1. Pete Alonso, by the way, has homered in the game down at St. Petersburg. So it's 3-1 Orioles in the top half of the 6th inning. Astros and Twins 1-1 Target Field. That is in the top of the 4th. Caratini is homered for Minnesota in that one. So Victor Caratini with the home run is, I think it's his 2nd of the year. Aaron Rodgers has said, though, in order to make the suit feel happy, Aaron Rodgers did meet today and with the media, and when he did, he said that this will be his last season in the NFL. He spoke to the reporters for the first time since he agreed to the 1-year deal with the Steelers over the weekend. Asked if 2026 would be his last year, Rodgers answered immediately, yes. It'll be his 22nd season in the league, 2nd with the Steelers. Brings him back to reunite with Mike McCarthy. But Aaron Rodgers did say today that this will be his last season of playing in the NFL. The suit wanted last year to be the last season. He didn't get his wish. Frustration boiling over with the Big Ten and the SEC. Jamie Pollard, formerly Matt Campbell's boss at Iowa State, and considered to be really a terrific athletic director. He said, he told reporters, quote, when it comes to the SEC, the Big Ten, quote, let them break away. I would turn it around, he said, and say we should break away from them. Let them go. But they have to go in all their sports and see how much fun it is to play baseball and softball and track when there's just 20 of you. Well, if it's the SEC and the Big Ten, there would be 34 of them, but that's all right. That's probably a little more draconian, but that's how I feel about it, Pollard said. Let's quit talking about it, quit threatening. He says, go do it. That's under the category, I've had enough. his frustration stems from the Big Ten and SEC's unwillingness to adhere to the College Sports Commission rulings. Because the Big Ten talked a lot about this. The Big Ten did talk a lot about this because, remember, Nebraska had 18 deals with athletes. I think they were all football players with Playfly, and the College Sports Commission said no. The most high-profile case involves the CSC, and those deals, by the way, with Nebraska were worth, $7.5 million. Pollard said the four commissioners spent a lot of money creating the CSC. Then to have two of the conferences not want to adhere to it is perplexing to me, because then why did we spend the money? And he said, if you didn't want rules, then why did you create the entity? That's what's frustrating to me. Same people that say that they want rules only want rules that don't apply to them. Feel bad that was actually Tim Curley calling me. I'll call him back when the show's over. Through April, the CSC has cleared 26,556 deals, totaling $242.35 million. They have denied 1,153 deals, worth a total of $56.17 million. Other deals, primarily from Big Ten and SEC schools, still remain in limbo. Iowa Athletic Director Beth Getz declined to comment about Pollard and what he said about the Big Ten. She says, I try to focus on Iowa and the Big Ten. I think it's just good practice to focus on our own groups. Getz went on to say, generally speaking, I think the Big Ten is trying to do things the right way in the system that exists. We're putting our deals in, and we all recognize that right now there are some challenges within the system that was created for a variety of reasons. So it's just a collective focus on identifying the best way to continue to support the enterprise, and that means we need a sustainable financial model. But the financial model is what they're trying to find here. This is where the stability comes in. This is why I keep talking about you need to have some sort of collective bargaining agreement, because you need structure. The fans are aching for structure. You call the show and tell me I'm wrong. I mean, are you aching for structure or not? I get the sense in all the groups that I talk to, when I'm asked questions, I can tell by the question what people are thinking. I'm sensing that they're aching for structure. I think there's no doubt that the administrators are aching for structure, because they have to put together the budgets. And believe it or not, they may not think they do, but the players need the structure too. Okay? They need it. Something that the ACC administrators are concerned about is the $20.5 million revenue sharing cap, which they think is not being enforced. Louisville Athletic Director Josh Hurd said, I think if we all would have gone into the settlement with the idea that the cap wasn't really going to be the cap, we'd probably feel a little bit different about it. But I think a large majority, if not all of us, went into this settlement with the idea that the cap's the cap. Well, the cap's not the cap. In reality, if reality deviates from your expectations, then it's difficult to reconcile those at times. I think that's what we're going through right now as an industry. Now, how do Big Ten athletic directors feel about it? Well, they vented their frustrations. There are two things they vented their frustrations about. They vented their frustrations about the CSC, and they also vented their frustrations about the new punt rule, which I still can't explain. At some point, although, as I told you, was it yesterday or the day before, that that when I talked to one of the Big Ten officials and we talked about the punt rule, even he was struggling. It's like, hey, I don't blame you. But the SCORE Act is not going to happen, which would have granted the NCAA antitrust exemptions to regulate outside income. The House vote cut that down. Administrators wanted the SCORE Act to coincide with the House settlement. It's not going to happen. Washington Athletic Director Pat Shunn said, I don't believe it's working today. The whole point of going into the settlement was to manage the third-party money and actually have a functional cap. And once that didn't happen, that really undermined the fundamental reason of why the settlement was going to have any chance of having durability. Pat Schoen is exactly right. It's that outside money that is sitting there, right? And that is an issue. Scott Dolson of Indiana, he's the athletic director in Indiana, said there's a strong feeling to try to do everything we can. Number one, to see what happens out of Congress and obviously support whatever comes out of that, if it does. Beyond that, I would say there's definitely an effort to make certain we can really coalesce together with the other conferences and work within the governance structure that exists, but at the same time keeping everything on the table and exploring whether options we may or may not need to pivot to, depending on the outcomes of a lot of things that sometimes are out of our control. Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith said the discussion has to start within, in our case, the Big Ten and all the member schools of the Big Ten. The need structure. There's no question about that. And I can understand the frustration of Iowa State and the Big 12. I mean, I completely understand the frustration of it. Why do I understand it? Because they don't have the financial resources of the SEC or the Big Ten. They just don't. And part of that has to do with the popularity and the markets of where you are. And that, it's just a reality of who you are, where you are, and what the market says. Well, they don't have the money that the SEC and the Big Ten happen to have. They just don't, not even close. I mean, Penn State, their cut from the Big Ten this year was $89 million. I mean, I'm going to sense that Iowa State, for them, $89 million is a good chance. It's like anywhere from a year and a half to 2 years' worth of work to get 1 year's worth of money in the Big Ten. It's hard to compete with that. No question about it. But this goes back to what I talked about with the college football playoff. It's a money grab. You have to sit down and take the time to examine all the money you are pouring into other sports where the return financially, not on the court or the field or the mat or the ice or anything like that. Okay, you're getting return there, which you're looking for, right? You want to win. But the financial part of it, your balance ledgers of expenses versus revenue, right? It's a lot of mouths to feed and a lot of deficit to absorb. And that is exactly what the issue happens to be. Right? And people are not examining. They're looking at football. They want 24 teams. It's a money grab. Okay. So let's take it from Penn State's point of view. Right? The men's basketball tournament, 76 teams, a money grab. Does anybody take the time to talk about the deficits in the other 29 sports? You have to make up for it. And in Penn State's case, they're trying to do it as independently as possible without taking from university coffers. Same thing with Ohio State, same thing with Michigan, same thing with Alabama, same thing with Texas. I mean, you have to make up for it. This is not, intercollegiate athletics is not a normal business. Because in a normal business, the parts of the business that don't break even, the parts of the business that keep losing money decade after decade after decade, no longer exist. In a normal business, that doesn't happen. Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. Perfect. Why doesn't Mercury exist anymore? We're making money. Simple. How many parts of companies are cut out because they're not making money? But not in intercollegiate athletics. In intercollegiate athletics, right, you're trying to win. And Penn State has won and ever. They've won a national championship in women's soccer. They've won, 11, 12, whatever, 5 consecutive national championships in wrestling. They've won 8 national championships in women's volleyball, including Katie getting one. They've won national championships in men's gymnastics. I think Randy won 3 of them, Randy Jepson. They've won a couple of men's volleyball national championships, including one with Mark Pavlik as the head coach. I mean, you're looking to win as many national titles as possible. So you're trying to get results on the field, the court, the ice, or the mat. Right? Getting to the Frozen Four last year in hockey, men's ice hockey was incredibly uplifting. Women's ice hockey, the Frozen Four, that crowd was incredible. You want about Jews? They had 5,000 to 6,000 people, and they're going crazy. And when Tessa Janicki sent that thing to overtime, they went nuts. It was one of the great atmospheres I've been in. Right? That's great. I mean, it's all great. But the bottom line is, you don't make it unless you have money coming in from 2 primary sources. And in most athletic departments, it's football and men's basketball. Right? And the nonsense, and it is nonsense. Well, men's basketball only makes money because of the TV money. What do you want to do? Give it back? So you want to give it back? Right. I mean, Penn State men's basketball is on the TV package 28 times a year. 28 times a year they're on. There's, I think, 3, sometimes 4 that are on Big Ten Plus, and I don't count those. It doesn't mean anything to me. But, you're on Peacock, that means you're on the NBC package. You're on Fox Sports 1, you're on the Fox package. And then BTN, that's part of the Fox package as well. When it comes to men's basketball, BTN does not have a women's basketball TV package. Fox does not have a women's basketball package. They're not paying you for the women's basketball package. They're not paying you for the soccer package. They are not paying you for the wrestling package. Right? I mean, that's it's a reality of what they signed for. But do you want to give the money back? The NCAA basketball tournament share that you get, you want to give that back too? I mean, Penn State did earn a couple of units 3 years ago, which rolls over 6 years, comes out to $4.2 million. Okay? Which, outside of football, which other sport from the NCAA earned $4.2 million for the conference? It may have only been 1 appearance and 2 games, but it rolls 6 years, and it comes out to $4.2 million. Which other sport at Penn State outside of football generated $4.2 million for the Big Ten? Right, and that's Penn State. I'm not talking about what Michigan just did. Michigan just earned 7 units. Michigan earned, let's see. Let's quickly calculate it. 700, 1.4, 2.1, so it's about 2.5 million. Multiply that times 6, and they were able to get the Big Ten $15 million over 6 years. You're just not getting that money from other places. So this money grab part of it, this is where it's so poorly covered. You have to write stories saying, I've got to make up for the money here. I got to make up for the money there. Okay? Because you want these sports to exist. I want women's soccer. I want men's soccer. Erica Dombach gave a great speech to the Play-Fi people last week. She's one of the best in the world. Incredible. Great program. Won a national championship in 2015. Right? Gets great support. Right? But they don't make any money. They produce revenue, but the expenses outweigh the revenue by a wide margin like every other sport does. And just because you see a sellout does not mean anything except you cut into the deficit. That's all it means. So when you're talking about, can we get more money from the NCAA tournament? Yeah, and remember, you're trying to make up for the House settlement, where 40% of the House settlement money on back pay comes out of your NCAA tournament distribution. Now you're trying to at least get it back to even. That's been left out of every story I've read. College football playoff, you're trying to get more money because, again, you're trying to fill a $20 to $21 million gap in internal funding you have to come up with, right? And keep everybody else alive. Because, look, in normal circumstances, on a normal business, you lose money for decades in a division of your company, that part of that division of the company is not being kept. That's business. Intercollegiate athletics is the only thing I've seen run where they don't really take that business model into practice. Not making money, we can't keep subsidizing you. The key is you make enough overrun, especially in football. That's the big one. Football, to cover everybody else, then you can do it. So is it a money grab? I said this years ago on the show. They're going to have to come up with interesting and innovative ways to get more money into the coffers, because if you're going to keep all these sports, and I don't care if it's here, Alabama, Texas, doesn't matter. If you're going to keep all these sports, you've got to come up with ways to get more money. And they're greater financial challenges than ever. I mean, Beaver Stadium, it has to have, I know what the percentage is. I'm not going to give you the percentage because that's not fair for me to reveal what the percentage is that you need to have in Beaver Stadium in terms of seats sold to make sure that you're turning it's a key financial part of the formula. There's a certain percentage of seats you have to sell. It's a lot of pressure on the football program. Right? It is not just what you get from the TV networks. You've got to be able to keep selling seats. These additions they're putting on in Beaver Stadium, they're spending this way. Look, okay, they couldn't. I keep saying it should have been done 10 years ago. Remember the challenges of 10 years ago. You're trying to pay off fines and things like that. So, Sandy Barber and everybody there was challenges they had to work through financially where they could probably do it at that point. But in a perfect world, and I'm talking perfect world, it should have been done 10 years ago, would have been probably half the price it is now. But by doing it now, you're preventing the possibility of having to pay double that 10 years from now. Oh, was wheels ever fun today. Believe it or not, we may actually talk about the Baby Pens tomorrow. They do play tonight against the Springfield Thunderbirds in Massachusetts, just across I-91 from the Basketball Hall of Fame. And if the Baby Pens win tonight, they move on to the semifinals, where they would await the winner of Cleveland-Toronto. So we may actually talk to the voice of the team tomorrow.